Middle Eastern single-aisle aircraft models have been heavily requested by collectors for quite some time, and Herpa is starting to deliver, like the model here in front of us, or with more to come in the future. And thanks to the great prices of the FMB shop, I'm able to show you this model here today. So if you would also like to get a model like this or others, then check them out. The link to the FMB shop can be found in the video description below. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where today we'll take a closer look at an Airbus A319-100 of Royal Jordanian Airlines. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of the box we have the Royal Jordanian Airlines branding. The backside of the box unfortunately continues in the dreadful box design of Herpa Wings, so we get another cutout which does not protect my aircraft model and makes the box look very cheap. So the only thing of interest here is simply the fact that this is a limited edition. And here she is, the Airbus A319-100 in the current standard livery of Royal Jordanian Airlines, a brand new Herpa Wings model released here in 2022. So with no further ado, let's take a closer look to see what this model actually has to offer and if it is worth our time and, more crucially, our money. Because Herpa has of course decided to sell this at an official daylight robbery retail price of €30. So if we start our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, we will find the Royal Jordanian Airlines branding. On the fuselage we then have the Jordanian flag, the full registration code of the aircraft and the aircraft type specification. On top of the fuselage we then find the addition of a set dome, and here Herpa has definitely made some improvements over the years, given that the size of the set dome here is much more realistic than we have seen in the past. And then towards the very tail of the aircraft we do also have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then have the writing of Royal Jordanian, both in English and in Arabic writing. We also have a one-word logo of which the airline is a member. Furthermore, we find the web address of the airline and some static ports, and underneath the cheat line we also have the name of the aircraft. When it comes to the cockpit section itself, we find the cockpit windows and the window wipers have been printed on. The shape itself here, I would say we have definitely seen much worse in the past, but Herpa is of course incredibly inconsistent with the shape of the cockpit of the A319 or A320 family, and is heavily helped here by the livery, which is definitely covering up a lot of inaccuracies. When we look at the engines, we can see the engine nacelles have been kept in the same dark grey color as most of the fuselage, with a dash of red. Looks pretty decent, I think. We also have, of course, the silver leading edge and some safety relevant markings printed on, which also further adds to the realism of the model. The physical detailing of these engines, I think, is also pretty good, especially here from the front, where we very nicely can see the engine fan blades. Then on the fuselage, just above the wings, we have the emergency exit printed on, which leads us straight to the wings, which we should also take a closer look at, starting off with the top side, where we find the different flaps, slats and spoilers have been carved out very nicely. We also find the marking for the emergency exit and some different shades of grey for additional detailing. The underside of the wings offers us some more nice physical detailing with the pylons, and we also have the full registration code of the aircraft printed on once more. Then these wings of course also have these lovely wingtip fences, which Herpa hasn't just colored in with red color, but also have added the Royal Jordanian crown in the print, which is quite nicely done. Then we can take a quick look at the landing gear. That is the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all the Airbus A320 family aircraft models. A good thing for the main landing gear, which looks pretty decent. The front landing gear, however, is quite a bit too wide, and of course we are missing some printed details. And needless to say that previous generations of Herpa models had way better landing gear here. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft, and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we are, the Airbus A319-100 in the standard livery of Royal Jordanian Airlines from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, narrow-body Middle Eastern aircraft models have been heavily requested by collectors, and I have definitely been one of them. So I'm happy to see that Herpa is starting to listen, at least at some points, to their customers. Now obviously the model does come with some of the usual Herpa nonsense, so we have a hole in the fuselage for a stand which is not included, but at least it doesn't destroy any printed details in this case, and we have a hideous front landing gear. When it comes to the shape of the cockpit, I have been a huge critic of the mold from Herpa Wings. When it comes to the A320 family aircraft models, they're hugely inconsistent with that. Here in this case it's definitely not the worst we've seen, but as I also mentioned, it is massively helped by the livery, which is definitely covering up a lot of the weaknesses this mold has. price. The good news for anyone who likes airlines from the Middle East or is a Royal Jordanian fan is that you can get this model, but you can also wait a little bit because soon Herpa will have a Herpa Wings Club model of a Royal Jordanian A321 in a retro livery, so maybe that might be a model that is more to your liking than this one. So in conclusion, this is definitely not the best Herpa Wings model we have ever seen. We have seen much better models in the past, but it is pretty much the best we can get from Herpa nowadays, and therefore I would say it is worth having in one's collection, but it is definitely not worth the official Herpa retail price of 30 euros. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, and of course if you're new around here, you're always welcome to hit subscribe. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.